Mr. President, distinguished members of the Court, it's a great honour and privilege to appear before you again and represent the plurinational state of Bolivia. As the Court held in its 2024 advisory opinion, Israel's presence in the Palestinian Gaza Strip and West Bank, including East Jerusalem, is, in and of itself, illegal. It's a violation of the legal right of self-determination of the Palestinian people. It's conducted for the unlawful purpose of purported annexation. It must, in the words of the Court, end as rapidly as possible. These findings presuppose that Israel has no valid legal basis to maintain the presence. Had there been a valid legal basis, the Court would not have called for the presence to end. The Court characterised the presence as a use of force, the legality of which determined by the law on the use of force. Since using force without a valid legal basis is a breach of the jus ad bellum, the implication of the Court's finding that the presence should end is that the presence is an unlawful use of force, an aggression. Only the State of Palestine and the Palestinian people have the legal right to exercise authority in the Gaza Strip and West Bank, including East Jerusalem. In consequence, only they have the legal right to decide who can enter and be present there, and which activities those present can engage in. Conversely, as its presence is illegal, Israel necessarily lacks a valid entitlement to do anything there. Insofar, then, as the presence continues, every activity performed is itself illegal, as an integral part of an illegal presence. In consequence, Israel has no legal right to take any action in the OPT restricting the entry, presence, and activities of other actors. Any such action, on whatever basis, is therefore illegal. That said, in particular circumstances, the rules regulating the conduct of the Israeli presence, including occupation law, don't prevent and even permit and require certain restrictions on the entry, presence, and activities of other actors. Given this, it might be suggested that international law creates a paradoxical, perverse situation. On the one hand, as the Court determined, the presence is unlawful and should therefore end as rapidly as possible. On the other hand, because Israel defies the Court and continues its illegal presence, obligations are then triggered, permitting it to decide on the presence of other actors, and do so against the wishes of the only legal persons entitled to do this. This suggestion would be to misunderstand the relative significance of the two areas of law. As the Court held, the legal rules governing the conduct of the presence apply even though the presence is illegal. However, because of that illegality, all Israel's actions performed as part of the presence will be illegal on this basis, including actions compliant with and pursuant to the rules regulating conduct. Thus, ultimately, restrictions that are lawful according to the rules regulating conduct remain unlawful according to the law of self-determination and the jus ad bellum, since they're performed as part of a presence that is as a general, unqualified matter illegal. On this basis, then, Israeli restrictions in the OPT on the entry, presence and activities of other actors are breaches of Israel's obligations owed to the Palestinian people and the State of Palestine. Moreover, such restrictions are also violations of other obligations Israel owes to states. Many states are present in the OPT on a profoundly different basis than Israel, conducting diplomatic relations with the State of Palestine and other Palestinian entities. These and other states also provide material assistance to the Palestinian people there, directly and by supporting provision by others, notably UNRWA. As the court held, because of the fundamental nature of the Palestinian right of self-determination violated by Israel in maintaining its presence in the OPT, all states bear a special legal duty to bring the violation to an end. States discharge this duty through activities seeking to mitigate the violation. Conducting diplomatic relations with Palestinian counterparts in the OPT repudiates Israel's unlawful claim to sovereignty and implicitly or expressly recognizes Palestinian sovereignty. Providing assistance reduces the dependency of the Palestinian people on the state, perpetuating its subjugation of them through its presence. Israeli restrictions conducted in the OPT to the entry, presence and activities of states breach Israel's obligation of non-interference in the freedom of action of these states. More specifically, such restrictions on states and the other actors they support, such as UNRWA, impede their ability to perform activities benefiting the Palestinian people. As a result, they constitute an unlawful interference by Israel in these states' ability to discharge that special legal duty owed to the Palestinian people. In sum, the consequence of the court's finding in the 2024 advisory opinion that Israel's presence in the OPT is, in and of itself, illegal, is as follows. Israel must end its presence. It has no legal right to take any action there restricting the entry, presence and activities of states and international organizations, including UNRWA. Any such action is illegal. This is because it's part of a presence breaching the right of self-determination of the Palestinian people and the jus ad bellum. Also, and in consequence, it violates Israel's obligation not to interfere in the sovereign freedom of action of the states concerned. And, in particular, it violates Israel's obligation not to impede their action of solidarity, whether performed directly or through support given to other actors, discharging the special legal duty owed to the Palestinian people. Mr. President, distinguished members of the court, the peoples of the world are shocked at the continued failure of the international community to end the colonial subjugation and genocide of the Palestinian people. They ask, what is the use of international law? Bolivia is here as one of the states seeking to answer this call, based on the court's determination that states must act and not be bystanders. We respectfully request that the court safeguard states' ability to discharge their special legal duty to act by affirming Israel's obligations not to interfere in this. Mr. President, this concludes my presentation and the submissions of Bolivia. We thank you for your kind attention.
In closing, Bolivia's powerful submission before the ICJ is a reminder that international law is not a suggestion, it is a responsibility. As the world watches, the question remains: will the global community uphold justice or continue to stand by as injustice persists? The time for silence has passed. It is now up to states, institutions, and individuals to act with courage, with conscience, and in solidarity with the Palestinian people.